The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us once again. WVTC Radio, winning victory through Christ. I hope everyone out there is doing well. I hope you're thinking good. I hope you're feeling good, and I hope you're doing good. Today, we are going to do all of that. We're going to ask you to join us because we have somebody in our studio today that is good. He's a good man. He was here last week, and I asked all of the listening audience that was here last week to come back for part 2. I hope you did, because today we're going to get down to the real nitty gritty. Today I have as my guest, excuse me for not introducing myself. My name is Dbarge, and this is the Dbarge Show, as if that's not important. But the more important thing is what we're going to do with it now that we found love.
Yes.
Brother Tyrone.
How you doing,
in the
brother?
house. It's good to see you, man.
Yes,
Thanks
for having me again.
Oh, you're so welcome.
On the shoulder.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had that accident, but one thing, advice I want to give you as an older man, I'm a lot older than you. I'm asking you to please don't run so fast. They said you were doing 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Slow down, brother. Don't pass buses and stuff. Okay?
Yeah, I'm trying not to outrun the bus.
Yes. Brother Tyrone is an amazing individual who just wrote a book that every person listening to our voice and seeing our face needs to get. There's a journey in this book that we need to know about, all of our people. It's called Men on the Inside. Men on the Inside. And he's talking about inside of the penitentiary, inside the prison, what happens to us inside. And he's going to talk about what happened to himself inside. Right. So please get this book. Brother Tyrone, can you tell us where this book can be acquired?
Yes. Thank you for the kind words you gave me before the introduction. And, they say, none is good except the Father.
That's right.
So thank you for referencing that. And I strive to be a good man every day, in the midst of the hell we're living in. But my book, Men on the Inside, Observations of Deviants, 13 Prison Character Types, can be purchased at TyroneMuhammad.com. That's TyroneMuhammad.com. Or you can purchase it off our organizational websites. That's ECCSC.org, ECCSE.OSC.org.
Thank you very much. And we'll repeat that again before this broadcast ends. Brother Tyrone, last week, we had a very enlightening meeting right here that we shared with the world. And we got past your upbringing. We got past you going to prison. And we came all the way up to what's happening right now with this powerful organization, ECCSC.
Yes, sir.
Today, we're going to talk about you and ECCSC. We're going to talk about the present and what you see down the road in the future for you, for us, and for them, whoever they might be.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us about your organization and how it was founded and what you intended to do with it?
As I explained last week, sitting and watching men coming in and out of prison, I just grew tired of that. Like, as someone who have taken a personal responsibility of my own life and my circumstances while serving time, I said that I would be the mentor, I would be the big brother, I would be the guide to the young men. I would even be the example of what to do while sitting in a 9x12 cell or a concrete coffin. I'm going to show them how to overcome it and to get out of it unscarred, unscathed, almost like being in the fire of affliction, right? I took all of the classes necessary. I earned 2 associate's degrees. I earned cosmetology certifications. I earned 2 automotive certification, horticulture certification. While in prison, I earned I became a drug counselor, earned a drug counselor's degree, and a number of other certificates and certifications to show myself approved from in their standard of what was necessary to deal with, letters and certificates. And I say, it's clear to me that the criminal justice system, pastors, politicians, don't have the answer to reduce recidivism and to be an example or even to serve those coming out and coming in and then back into society. Because ultimately, 75% or more of those individuals that go to prison ultimately return back to the neighborhoods they was removed from. So it's incumbent upon the elected officials and the prison administrator to release men back into society better than when they went in. But in fact, they actually release men back into society worse off than when they went in. More angry, more disinvested, family structures broken, and they return often back into society with no assistance from the communities or the persons that may give them help in amalgamating back into useful citizenship, right? Useful, because we've never been useful or felt useful before we went to prison. So I say, it's going to take us to save us. That means the people who've experienced this issue, this ill, the people who have sat in those cell houses, in them concrete coffins for whatever time period they had to sit there, who have a better understanding of their social emotional condition, physical confinement than anybody that's making laws and sitting behind the desk. We were going to be the ones to transform the structure of prison and then give a new face and a new life to re-entry and what it looks like to be reformed. So I said we're going to call ourselves ex-cons for community and social change. Ex-cons because we ex of everything negative that we've ever been a part of and the terroristic effect that we had on our women and our children in these communities. And X represent unknown, a mathematical equation that means that that represent unknown and untapped ability languishing in the prison cells, in the graveyards, and on the street corners. So we as an organization have a model that we will constantly solve for X. Everything that's unknown, is not good, that you don't use, we will solve for X and give it meaning. So that hence ex-con for community and social change, a re-entry, violence prevention, mentor, workforce development, social justice organization.
You said a whole lot in 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not counting.
Yes.
I wish we could be on this show for 6 hours. I have to say this, my experience with your organization is very, very short and limited to this point. When I came to your office, a feeling came over me. I saw brothers who served time in the penitentiary, and I knew it. I felt more safe there than I feel if I walked in the police department. Why? That's something spiritual. Yeah. It may not need an explanation. Yeah. But I was looking at myself when I saw you and I saw the brothers before you, before I could get to you.
Yes, sir.
I saw myself in the women. I saw myself in your wife. Yes, so I wasn't afraid of anything. I mean, it was like, I shouldn't be, because I'm looking at me, unless I got something that's not right that I need to be afraid of. So the brothers just showed me the wonderful, not only possibilities, but the reality of what happens when you're in the process of transformation.
Absolutely. Well, we're broadcasting from a Christian radio station.
Yes, sir.
So in understanding that, and understanding Christ and his job of reformation, his job of resurrection of the dead, what, not physically dead? No, mentally and spiritually dead. Most of the ills and issues can be solved by doing real behavior modification of the spirit, the heart, the mind, the soul, the emotions. And oftentimes, individuals who bear witness and say they represent Christ don't truly bear their own cross. Every one of us that come and been through it and seen it and struggle with the ills of life, we have determined in ECCSC that the men coming through our vicissitude of life or struggle or new process of community development and manhood must bear their own cross, must be an example of resurrection after being crucified, right? And most men, no fault of their own, have been, it's almost like that. And I hope I could quote it right. I got that pastor, he make it help me. What did they do this child do that they have seen? Or what did this kid,
the blind man,
that right. He is,
what did he do that God would make him
nothing but be born into a society that has an everlasting fruit of sin, that never deals with its own reformation or own process of sin. We live in a country and a society that doesn't grapple anymore with the ills that is servitude slavery in this country. And that's still a systematic or systemic disinvestment of communities of former slave children. That although we're free in body, there are too many tricks and traps that tend to encapsulate our minds and our ideas. So the things that we see on television, the things that we read in books that don't have us in them, and the stuff that we listen to in music often pours in our souls, our reality of who we are, what we are, and where we've been. So we as a people have been caught up in the judgment of our own nephews, cousins, nieces, sons, and daughters with no other reason except that they are ex-cons, that somebody gave these people these titles. We live in a society that perpetually discriminates, sin, kill, murder. But yet, when we go through a system, we are told that we're paying our debt to society, and that once we're done with that, we return back. We are supposed to be restored to useful citizenship. But that's not the case. So if not me, who? If not us, who? Nobody. Because there's no churches with the million of churches lined up watching this life-giving work that Jesus represents, aren't healing the souls, the sick, the needy, the wayfarer, setting the orphans free. Where were you were you in prison and I visited you not? Where are the shepherds for the sheep? So we are the shepherds. We represent the shepherd. And who best to represent this people than those who've been through it in their experience, and bringing about true reformation without the letters, without the titles. So we the X-Men.
You've gone through the alphabet quite well.
Yes, sir.
And explained exactly what you stand for and what you do. Now I want to go to the numerical system.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about 1, 2, 3, 4. What did you do when you got out of prison? What was your mindset? Who were you with?
So you have to be with God. So you cannot sit in a 9x12 cell. Only one or two things gonna happen when you sit in a cell. And 7 years of my incarceration was solitary confinement. For those who don't know, that means 24 hours in the cell.
By yourself.
So just imagine staying 7 years in the washroom by yourself. Try to figure that. Matter of fact, do a week in your own washroom. And your washroom is probably 2 times bigger than mine, my cell. So when you think about that and you got a conviction to transform your life and your people and the individuals that you encounter, there's a transformation that has to take place in your mind, right? So just think of it like this. The cells of my brain, encapsulated by a cell, while always fighting to generate the cell of disinvestment, lies, injustices, and all of the madness that makes us a demoralized, broken man. Now you release people like that back into society. In my case, I spent 6 to 8 hours a day for 15 to 17 years studying on how to better myself, my condition, and my community. So when you see me operating, I'm operating from a space of a vocation that is designed to help me and gear me towards resurrection of the dead of our community. I have to come in that straight path. I can't come in the path that they not. Children are not into the church. They're not in the mosque. They're not in the synagogue.
Streets.
They're in the streets. They're in the highways and byways. They are, in fact, actually where Jesus went. Jesus wasn't in the church. Jesus wasn't in the mosque. Jesus wasn't in the synagogue. In fact, he was turning over all money tables. And he started in the church. And Jesus wasn't a popular figure back then. The very man that we praise and give glory and honor to, we don't bear the same cross and burden that he bears as it relates to transforming the lives, the thoughts, the behavior, and the mind state of them young boys and girls out there. Let this mind be in you, the same that is in Christ Jesus. I may not prophesy or call myself, say in the name of Jesus or even in the name of Allah or Muhammad or Moses. It doesn't matter in the sense. Our walk and our work becomes our faith. Our walk and our work becomes our belief system. So I don't have to say it. I'm more interested in those that's doing.
Exactly.
You don't have to call yourself anything. If you say you're a Christian, I'm gonna watch your action.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
You probably remember this part of the scripture when they asked Jesus, "Who are you?"
Yeah, I am that I am. I am that I am.
And his work bore witness.
And
he said, if you don't understand my words, watch my work.
Watch my work. I am the Father I want.
Right.
So
where is this heaven?
Right.
That's you've been talking about.
In the mind. Inside.
In
right.
you.
By the renewing of your mind.
If you don't think it's in you, then you're gonna be looking somewhere else.
Yeah, we're doing that right now. We're waiting on a heaven that nobody, my grandmama, is the most spiritual woman I've ever met. Both of them, from my father's side to my mother's side. And none of them has came back and told me heaven exists nowhere. None of them. But yet we will play for that without doing what Jesus said.
He said,
Our Father,
which
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy will be done on earth, or thy kingdom come on earth.
I mean, the kingdom's coming right here.
As it is in heaven. So when do we get to the business of creating heaven on earth? When do we get to a business of creating wealth and opportunity so everybody can share in God's heaven on earth? Because you got to know that if you wasn't a great partaker of earth and God's people while you live, what make you think you're going to survive or make it even in the heaven that's supposed to be greater and better than this?
Well, Jesus answered that question, if I read the book correctly, when they asked him, where is the heaven that you've been talking about? He said, it's in you. Well, if it's in you and you can't see it, it means it has to be mined out. It's almost like fruit, seeds that's in the ground. It ain't fruit yet.
No, it has to go through a germination period.
Man, come on, let's go.
Yes.
We're going to go now. Okay, so You came out of prison.
Yes, sir.
And it's Tyrone and God.
Yes, right. Real literally, because they release you back into society with no money, no housing, no transportation. After having enough money, $40,000 or $50,000 a year per inmate, prisoner, to house them in prison. But they don't have $5,000 a year to help you transition back to society. How is it that in freedom and in captivity, I'm more valuable than I am in freedom?
Slave.
Because that's the only system, prison. The prison industrial complex is the only system through the 13th Amendment that allows you to be removed from freedom, from the streets, from society, and made a servitude slave. Legally and open.
It's in the Constitution.
It's
right
in
now.
the Constitution
Right now.
and so therefore, because they blur the lines of justice, they come back and you return back into society. Then they put all type of blocks and stumbling blocks that's designed to keep you trapped in your mind of incarceration. And then hopefully by you never being able to properly amalgamate or transition, then you end up back in prison sometime for the rest of your life or sometime for extended time. That's why they talk about 3 strikes and you out.
Right.
That's why they try to trap you up in parole systems and probation systems that ultimately land you back in prison. If you put a probation system up, if you put a parole system up, have the resources necessary for me to succeed. That's not
right back.
That's not what they do.
I've seen that. Tell me, I just want to get to numbers again. What was the first thing you did coming out of prison to start this journey with this?
Yeah. So the first thing I wanted to do, I just wanted some onion rings. I just wanted to eat some onion rings, man. And because it was so late when I finally got out of prison, I had to settle for White Castle onion rings. They probably should give me some commercial money or something. But I'm just saying, I had to settle for that because, you know, when you're in prison, there was all those things you crave that you're not allowed to have in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been a smoker. I never drank. I never smoked anything. And I haven't eaten meat since 1990. Even while in prison, they starved me. They literally starved me out in prison. So I did everything I could for 21 years to maintain my discipline and to be able to actually survive in there. So with all the money that the state give for my body, they couldn't even feed me properly. Our families don't know. And no one knows what the conditions are for these prisons because they really don't care. That's why I always say ex-cons and prisoners are the only class and caste of individuals that's perpetually discriminated by everyone. That means even the people that think they're righteous don't do enough for prisoners to say, hey, what's the laws? What are we doing? How are they properly amalgamated back? So the moment these ones recidivate from going in your house, home invasion, for carjacking you, or for killing you for your property, now we want to talk about, see, prevention is the key.
That's right.
Prevention, not response. We live in a society where this government spends billions on response, not prevention. So I got my onion rings. Then I decided, I have to get going, and I just ride me downtown to see the buildings and see stuff. And I'm like a kid in the candy store, because after 2 decades, Cabrini gone, all the buildings gone, Stateway gone, all the State Street. I'm riding then I'm saying all this gentrification. I see the community vacant lots after vacant lots in Inglewood, all vacant houses. Auburn Gresham. I'm riding the blocks and community, and I'm seeing the ills of our communities. I'm seeing the women, the young girls hanging out at 11, 12 at night. They can't be no more than 12 and 13 years old, naked. Like, what the hell just happened in 2 decades? So that just motivated me to start it, and deal with it and just get right to it. And then just, man, look, incorporated my organization right from the table. Started on 501c3, and we got it certified as well. Started it, and then I was done, and I've been hitting the ground running ever since. And I knew that I wanted to be in the front to all of these establishments. I knew I wanted to be a front to the disinvestment that I saw in our community. I came out of prison thinking that I'm going to help with reentry, and I'm going to help motivate and become a great mentor for the young brothers and sisters out in these communities and those returning home. But then the violence was so crazy that, man, our organization instantly became a violence prevention organization over reentry and over mentor. See, all response.
Mm-hmm.
We want to prevent. So that's the should I say, the line of transitioning back into society, yet still not never really finding myself. That's what we got to understand, that when you're a servant to the people, when you're a servant of God, you don't care about your personal conflict. If you looking at it, people always say, man, you got to take some personal time for yourself. Huh? I had 21 years of time.
That's right.
I had my time already. The fact is, I often say, man, everybody needs to go to jail for at least a week or a year. Just sit in a cell for a minute to sup with yourself, almost like going up to the mountain 40 years. So in fact, that's what I was given, 40 years at 50%. That's 20 years. So in 20 years, 2 decades, that's a lifetime.
It is.
You know, most people.
It's a generation.
Hey, listen, man. So, I don't regret anything. I don't complain. Because when you go through that furnace of affliction, you are purified for the moment. You're purified. So when you see me working and moving the way I'm moving, I don't have no time for myself. My time is for the people, and my time represents the time that God has given me the grace and the mercy, because I was told I'd be dead at 16. So, hey, I'm more than grateful, even if it took me 21 years in prison to figure that out.
How old were you when you came out?
Sure, I'm 51 now, so you think I've been out this my 5th year. I just made the 5th year that I've been home.
You found life in the penitentiary.
Well, the prison system is not a system of death. It depends on how you see it.
Right.
See, I saw it as a college. And I told the judge, I'm gonna make you wish you never locked me up. So if everybody in prison did what I did, guess what?
Wow.
It wouldn't be prison.
Transformation.
They would never send you. They told me the guards used to tell me we should have killed you a long time ago.
The guards told
Guards.
you that?
Yeah, because I'm disrupting. I would disrupt the guys and get them conscious. You disrupt the slaves. You disrupt my Negros.
They don't want Django.
You're not gonna disrupt these men, because I profit off of their bodies. I profit off of their families' bodies, their family wealth, and keeping, the commissary, the visits, the hotels, and the phone calls. Everybody get paid off of death in the black man's body except us. Crime pays, it just don't pay us.
On that note of horrible, that speech that you just gave, That last sentence that you just said is horrifying. And right on that horrifying statement, we're going to pause, we're going to take a break and come back. But we're going to take a station break and we're going to show you at work.
Yes.
Because right now you're working, you're always working. I know that anyway.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to show some of your work when you're talking to the people that are supposed to be in power and doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, watch this.
Good evening and happy Monday. I would like to yield my time to our Executive Director, Tyrone Muhammad. Hello, everyone here, council members. I'm just saying, Mayor, I'm kind of disappointed in you. I really am. I thought you was our friend. And I thought you was the friend to black people and black children. It is unacceptable to us. I just can't believe, after dealing with Haven, the middle school, and this noose, the three noose debauchery, it's just unacceptable for me as a black man in this country and a representative of black people in this city, that there's not more done. We're not dealing with solution. There's not a immediate resolve. And I'm not seeing no real emotional counseling and behavior modification counseling and things of that nature with our children. If it was a swastika hanging out there, I do not believe this would just get this small attention. The Jews would be running through Evanston talking about, Mayor, what do you have to say about this? And how do we get at it? I'm not accepting it. If it's an LGBTQ threat out there in them trees and some Asian hate, it would be a better response for that community. These are children. She just mentioned climate. We don't even care about kids. We talking about climate. All of this is non-enforced.
I mean, Jefferson, your time is up.
Okay.
You also signed up yourself.
Okay.
If you want to start your
Yes,
clock now.
I'm ready to start mine.
All right,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
I love democracy. It is just unacceptable. We're not leaving this city. We're going to be in front of that school every day. I'm going to pitch a tent until we get some real issues addressed. Because this is not the first time. We was at Niles North when the child got shot. We was called there. We have to deal with this. There has to be a real discussion. It ain't about this time. This is bigger than that. This is bigger than that. I want to hear every one of you all's thoughts on this. I really do. We got a thing on here talking about a weed permit to open another dispensary while black men are still in prison and going to jail every day for weed. She say equity. I want to see it in my lifetime. We have to create it. And I die making sure those children in that school, white and black, don't have to suffer the racism that their parents created. And continue to uphold. I talked to those young folks this morning. Man, them little kids. Every one of them white children are my children. Every one of them black children are my children. How in the world are they suffering through this stuff and we sitting back playing politics with this? We're not going to accept it. We're bringing out the Chicago out here because it's clear, Mayor. What's this? Let me say
15 seconds.
1800 block of Madison, woman shot in the face. 1 month ago, a man shot. Today in Evanston, a man shot. We got to get at the violence. And I commend our violence prevention brothers and sisters. But, man, we got to do more. I don't hear nothing talking about, forget the gun. They talking about gun. Guns don't shoot. It's the behavior modifications that needed to stop us from picking up guns in the first place. That's what the prevention part is about. And it's not enough.
Thank you very much. All right, next speaker is Ralph Edwards. Mr. Edwards, do you want to yield your time as well?
I yield my time to Tyrone Muhammad. Mayor, we got to do better as a city. I hear the citizens even here talking about they're not feeling safe. The long-time citizen, white and black. We got to do more. If our children are expected to go to school and learn why in fear, why having anxiety and grief as a result of someone like it now up north calling them the N-word, and then actual news being, I don't care who it was directed to. I want to know the grown people who had enough audacity and gall to put those them nooses on trees where our babies go to learn. It's unacceptable, and we're not gonna sweep this under the rug like it's nothing. It's something that we could just wax over and then go on to the next issue of the day. None of this means nothing if racism is running rampant in this city. We at war, our children's at war. It's clear. We gotta be at war. If we talking about permits for dope houses, legal, white men own only, while we still in jail for the same products that land. We built the prison system off of cannabis for 50 years. And you're talking reparations. So what? What that mean? What that mean if you don't have full restoration and repair for the damage caused by the war on drugs? What do that mean? So with that being said, I hope to be able to have a big and a better conversation without being rushed through it in a minute time on serious issues. Ain't no such thing as time when we're talking about our children. Because guess what? They're going to spend a whole bunch of time and tax dollars in prison if we get another New York situation where children running through and shooting up our babies. Then you're going to be serious about this. You're not going to brush it over then, because it's going to happen.
Thank you very much for joining us back at WBTC Radio. I hope that you got an earful of what Dr. Tyrone Muhammad is talking about, because certainly, they say a doctor when you see one, because they're bringing the healing.
Yes, sir.
All these fake doctors with titles can't heal nothing, including themselves. They're sick. That's why the book said the doctor needs a doctor. Yeah, but what you're giving them is a prescription for the healing of what has been going on, and they don't want that. What they want is politics. They want to invest in black crime and be the highest investment on the stock market in America is the prison system.
Absolutely.
That's what they want. So I'm with you. We left off at explaining exactly what the acronym is spelling out of your organization.
So ex-cons for community and social change, ECCSC. So the people who ask that question and want to know. So here's the deal. I didn't want our organization to be just some the same run-of-the-mill organization that doesn't fight for the people. I wanted it to be separate and apart, and I wanted them to know who it was that was actually raising the issue of concern. In Illinois, you have over 1.5 million formerly incarcerated persons. That tells you something about the voting bloc that we have and the power that we have if we actually understood who and what we are, right? Mm-hmm. We are not our numbers, our ex. We are not any of that. But we have the biggest movement because everybody that knows somebody that's been incarcerated. If they don't, guess what? They on a rock, and we probably need to get away from them. But with that being said, I have wanted it to be an affront to the establishment that created prisons, that created this investment, that put weapons in our communities, that put drugs in our community, manufactured all of the community violence. It's not black on black violence. It's community violence because violence transfers into other communities. Carjacking over here end up with home invasions over there. Carjackings over here end up with drive-by shootings over there. This is community violence that we must address. Stop allowing people to say black on black crime as though there's no white on white crime. All crime is local. until it's not. Right? That's why they do nothing about it. Because as long as we're killing each other in the community, then it doesn't affect their community. And Winnetka, Wilmette, Glencoe, Highland Park, Kenilworth, Northbrook, until Highland Park becomes a murder capital for today. Now everyone talks about it. The governor come down, the same governor that never come to the community when we have 70 shootings in one weekend. The mayor talks about it with no real plan in place to stop, fix, or enforce. The president, vice president, quote unquote, black woman, so-called, comes from Washington to stand with slain white community. As though Inglewood, Lawndale, Woodlawn, Auburn, Gresham don't receive shootings and murders every day. That tells you how important we are and what we are. So ECCSC understands that. We never felt like citizens in our own community. So we're not calling ourselves returning citizens because we're not even citizens of our own block. In fact, we get pulled over for walking while black, for driving while black. What you doing walking? Where you going? In my own community, walking down my own block. Pull over, sit down, let me search. So we're not citizens, not even in our own community. No. So we can't return to something that we don't even own, that we've never been seen as a citizen of this country. Anybody that think they're a citizen of this country don't know the Constitution. The Constitution, 1776, you was enslaved. It wasn't written for you. No. We really need to wake up as a community and the people and start demanding. We still, every so many years, have to go back and do voters' rights to restore our right to vote. Why didn't that happen if it wasn't for us? If it was for us, why do we have, the Constitution is for us and everyone has the right to vote? And our vote counted, we're not 3/5 of a man. Why do we constantly go back every 20, whatever years it is, to restore our voters' right act? Man, we fit in systems that's designed to destroy us, and then we call ourselves wise. That's why these young folks killing old folks. Old folks have to die off. I'm gonna tell you your scriptures say.
Go ahead and walk through.
And let them inherit the earth because you all are scared cowards and you have lost the faith of God and the will of God, and you're caught up in capitalism, the way of the devil. And we all have become 501c3 pimps. So we wanted to be the organization to be a consistent front to the establishment. Make no mistake about it. We are not weak men standing up here. We are men who've been through the flame and fire of affliction. We are men who says, we will kick your butt, don't play with us, or we can be your brothers. Either way it go, you can't confront us with garbage and trash and make us believe that it's a caveat. So ex-con for community and social change is the new freedom, is the revolution, is the everything, the culmination of all of what our ancestors been through, from SNCC to CORE, to Black Panthers, to Nation of Islam, to more science, to Hebrew Israelites, to everything that ever gave us hope. Marcus Garvey, Carter G. Woods, Drew Ali, everything that ever gave us hope. We are universal soldiers in the change and reformation of our community and the building of our community. And once that catch on, I think that, and it already has, we have to always watch out for our lives, because this country killed prophets and messengers.
Of those that they think are. Tell me this. What has been the brunt of your struggle? What is the most difficult part about your struggle to free our people, or to be an instrument of freedom and peace, and to stop us from going back into what we came out of and build a real community?
It's always economics. That's why we can be allocated resources from elected officials and a governor not even release funds to our organization because he don't like what we do or he don't like us.
Are you talking about the current and present governor?
Yes.
That I shot about 3 times? I shot him with my camera.
Yes. The present governor, J.B. Pritzker administration, has openly denied ECCSC resources that was allocated as a line item. That means there is no fighting for that. That's short, over $1 million that's been allocated to our organization for violence prevention, while he ride around the world talking about the violence in Chicago. We're on the front line reducing violence every day. To this day, we probably reduce or intervene in a potential 400 to 500 shootings in 2 years.
Tell us how that happens.
Well, that happens.
Tell us what you do.
Well, it's not rocket science. When we go to the highways and the byways and the trap house, and we deal with the drillers, the sliders, and killers head on. It's no way that, you know what I'm saying, they can deny that. It's almost like when men are present, boys flee. When lions are present, cubs flee. It's no rocket science, no special approach to that. You have to love these young men enough. You have to love our community and our brothers enough that you put your life on the line trying to save them, trying to reach them, showing them that, man, you're not doing nothing new under the sun. I helped create this crap. So therefore, I'm responsible for repairing it. You haven't did nothing I haven't seen or, or done or seen. So, man, you only have 1 or 2 choices if I encounter you. You can come with me, or you can go to prison for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Or, hey, whatever else happened to you ultimately ends up in death. Come with me and save your life. Reject the truth and reject this message and lose your life. That's only 2 messages you can give. Have everlasting life and life more abundantly over here, or you die over there.
Right. Now,
that's an easy choice.
Right. Now, on the inside of the political machine, you have had some advocacy, and I know one good advocate that you got.
Oh, you talking about the state rep, Carol
Ann?
She fights, bro. She fights. She's
from
a fighter.
Position.
Yeah.
She's been on this show.
Yeah.
She's coming back. But go ahead.
That's a great. I have quite a few elected officials throughout this city that's always advocating for ECCSC to receive the proper resources.
And you're about to have a brand new one.
Oh man, hey, absolutely.
Your wife, who is an absolute
Tracy
Guabe,
she's running for. She hasn't announced publicly, but she's running for the 4th Ward alderman. That's a huge ward.
And we're gonna have her right here where you're sitting.
Yeah, she most definitely.
Yeah,
she's gonna be ready to tell you. She's ran for it before, and then this is the good thing. This seat is vacant.
Wow. So she ain't got no competition?
Well, no, absolutely none. And then anyone else need not apply because they don't have the soldiers she has. Mm-hmm. So you can waste your money if you want to. They can line up on the other side if they want to, but they won't win. So we about seriously changing the condition of our community and creating and showing them what true public safety looks like. And it looks like us.
Didn't the government on the highest level try to offer you something? Did you get into a conversation with the president of the United States?
Not which one, Trump or
no, not Trump.
Well, we actually, as ECCSC, we're actually a part of an initiative that's come from Biden's White House to do and build capacity, to expand throughout the country. Mm-hmm. We are already working towards building our base so that we could be ECCSC, LA, New York, Atlanta, and throughout the country. Really, I can move on. I can move out on a lot of that right now, but I'm just so apt at building our base, our headquarters, so that everything else can feed into.
Right.
So once I think the headquarters is secure enough, then I stretch out and go away to come back.
You know the military plan.
Oh, absolutely.
Straight military.
It's time. It's time. It's been time. There's prisons all over the world. You know.
Well, I'm looking forward to being a part of that and to see it really happen, because our people need it more than ever before.
What do we need?
Let me tell you a story real quick. Yesterday, things are happening, man, so fast.
Yeah.
My almost 6-year-old granddaughter,
Mm.
my daughter in Oakland, where you.
Yes.
I talked to her yesterday. She has a 12-year-old son. This happened the same day. He goes to a different school than she does. She said, Dad, this little white boy, 6 years old, called Pumpkin a black something.
Mm.
The school is 83% white. Okay. And then other. And she looked at him and she done. So when she came home, when I picked her up, he says, Mommy, this boy, she named his name, called me a black some whatever it was. And she didn't think it was negative. She just didn't know what it was, because she don't hear that kind of language. So her mom says, and what was his name? She gave him the name. So the same day, yesterday, my grandson, who's 12 years old, is at his school in the same city. And a boy walked up to him, 12, 13 years old, and asked him, he don't even know him. He just knows him as seeing him. He says, do you have a girlfriend? And my grandson said, what? Why you ask me that question? I don't even know you. Why you asking me? And he said, well, do you have a girlfriend or don't you? And he said, well, no. He said, are you bisexual? Because I am. So now he's not only identifying who he is, but he's inviting you to his world. Wow. Now, to me, that is breaking the law.
Yeah.
That law.
So this is in school.
This is in school.
So our children are subjected to stuff that the parents may not necessarily approve or agree with.
Right. Then let me finish this. The boy got angry at him and took his book bag and threw it on the ground. And his stuff came out the book bag. My grandson grabbed him by his neck, by his throat. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
And threw his behind right down on the ground and told him a few kind words. My grandson got expelled from school. So the story I'm getting out of this, and I talked to my daughter, she's fine. I said, so a boy can come to your son and invite him to be a homosexual and throw your book down and bust it and all your stuff come out. When you defend yourself and your property, you get expelled. So my son-in-law, who's a soldier, that's when I wanted to come to the work class shops when you were there. My son-in-law takes off from work, comes by the house, gets my daughter. We going straight to the school. He got your kind of juice, like us. Go straight to the school. You're going to tell me something. So he got with the principal. Now, if I was the principal, the first thing I would do, I wouldn't reprimand that boy for what he said. He's 6 years old.
Exactly.
I would have brought him into my office and said, Johnny, how you doing today?
Yeah.
Fine. You know what? Do you know what a black nigger is? Where did you learn that from? Mommy, daddy. Oh, okay. All right. But what if the principal's a racist? What if the principal and her associates are homosexual? So now you've crossed the line. It's not against the law for you to put people in their place, but it's against the law for you to call them out of their name and disrespect them. So whose law is that? Law of Satan. So here in this universe, this mighty heaven potentially that we live in while we're going through hell, you have two laws. You have the law of Satan and the law of God. Which one do you obey? Now, they better be glad that I'm not in Oakland right now. And I'm not going there because I know my son-in-law is a very militant person and he'll take care of it. But I just wanted to say that.
Oh, no, well, that's the landscape of it. We got a lot of supporters that's from the LGBTQ community that love what we do. But what happens is when you're dealing with the landscape of the power dynamics of things, it's almost unpopular to be heterosexual.
It is.
And declare that openly, right? It's almost like just as somebody say you're homophobic, we may have to start calling people heterophobic. I'm just telling you, it's almost like you got to go back at people. Listen, just because your lifestyle is not pleasing to me, I don't approve of it, don't mean I hate you or that, but please keep your politics and your stuff away from what I'm doing or building. And it's just the same respect nowadays that they ask for, they don't give. So then that becomes a conversation and a disrespectful adversarial relationships.
And don't make the mistake of coming after my children.
No,
Right?
yeah, you should leave these. You should leave babies where they are to be babies. So with that being said, that you mentioned the book, and anybody that would like to purchase it out there, that's TyroneMuhammad.com. And if you would like to donate to ECCSC, you could go to ECCSC.org. That's ECCSC.org, and the instruction, but really go on there to learn about our program, learn about our mission, learn about our work, and participate, volunteer, even if it's not with us. Figure out the system. Look into these young people and the problems and the issues that they have, because they are hurting out here. And we just want to be strong Black men standing in the balance to get them back corrected or to give them some healing as we heal ourselves by serving.
Right.
That's how I heal. Service.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you one more time for blessing our show and the people that watch it. And for certain, I know that we're going to call on you again. And I know you got things for us to do as well. So may God bless you and keep you strong, and all of the soldiers that you have in the streets from Chicago across the country to do this marvelous and most magnificent ministry that you set out.
Yes, sir.
And God has empowered you to do.
Thank you for having me, Brother Donald.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, bro. God bless you and the crew.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for joining WVTC Radio, Winning Victory Through Christ. We appreciate your presence. We're thankful for your attention, and we ask you to be blessed and be strong and continue your plight to do what's good. And we will see you next week at 6 o'clock at the same place on the same channel, WVTC Radio Chicago, the Dbarge Show. Bye-bye.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC.